I am Curran Bhatia. I'm speaking to Jose Taveras. He is the manager for Mikkel LesPierre, and we know in the news LesPierre was supposed to fight Pedraza. That fight was postponed because Jose, his manager, was supposedly tested positive for COVID. But Jose, I'm seeing you now. I know that I've read that you took another test. That test came out negative. So do we think that that first test that postponed the fight was a false positive?
I don't want, like I said, I don't want to give anybody no blame, and I don't want to put no fault on nobody. It's just like I said, COVID is new, and right now, like I said, we're trying to figure it out as we go. My first test came out negative. My second test came out positive, which was it was a different doctor that did the second test. That's the one that came out actually positive. And then top rank took excellent care of me. They just wanted to take precaution. I didn't have a fever or nothing. My temperature was 97.1 to be exact. And like I said, they just wanted to take natural precaution just to make sure that everything was okay. So what I did was I took a test on my own that Friday, right? Because Thursday is when the results came back. I took a test on my own that Friday, and that Friday I took a nose swab at Walmart. I paid for a nose swab at Walmart. They got the drive-through where it's top of the line doctors. You do it. They guide you through. You do it yourself. You do the nose swab on both nostrils. It's uncomfortable, but it don't hurt. So I did that test first because I wanted to check on my own to make sure that they wasn't making making no mistakes. Because the doctor that did it, it was different than the first time. Like it was like he shoved it down my throat. I was choking on it, and I'm like, this is not how the first test went. And I took the second test on my own, and then I took a third test with Top Rank that Saturday. And the third test with Top Rank that Saturday, the doctors they sent us to was excellent. Like they took for each glance, they rubbed each glance, each side of the mouth, and then they rubbed the back of my throat. And both of those tests came back negative. So out of the four tests, three of them I passed the first one. The second one that was uncomfortable, I failed, and the other two I passed.
And bottom line, the most important thing is that you are healthy, you're safe, you're feeling good. And is that accurate? You're feeling good. Everything's good.
Yes, I feel amazing. I feel amazing. Once I was killed, once I was cleared to go, I went to the gym. I've been working out ever since. Back to my routine.
And obviously, we know I spoke to Mikkel LesPierre. We know what he's been through to get to that point of having the fight with Pedraza. He was on the front lines fighting COVID. He had to train outside because Gleason's was closed.
Yes.
I'm sure that when you first heard the news, you were devastated for him. But take me through it. What were you feeling when you first heard the news about you potentially being positive and the fight being postponed?
And actually, it was a crazy feeling because it was like, we was just sitting there talking the night before that, like, yo, bro, it's crazy. Look how far we got. Because I don't know if you know me and Mikkel's story. Mikkel was actually my first fighter that I had, and I built him up independently. No promoter, just me and him. I learned the game. I had great mentors. Shout out to Eric Bentley and Ron Rizzo that used to be with DeBella, but now he's a manager now. And I got Mikkel to 18-0. Two minor titles. I got him the WBC Fecker Box, the WBC US NBC with no promoter, and just the friendship of DeBella. And it was just like after we put on the last performance, he's like, yo, let's give it a shot. He spoke to me on 2018 Christmas, and he says, I think I could get you a title shot, and I feel like Mikkel's ready. And best believe that's what he did. We signed with him December. He called me on New Year's Day. Josie, we got the Maurice Hooker, and like I said, we jumped into the lines then,
Mm-hmm.
and I just told Mikkel, like, you got to put on that Tarzan suit, and just an opportunity in a lifetime, and we came up short, but we went 12 rounds. That was his second. I think that was his second title defense, and Maurice Hooker had stopped his last 5 opponents, even stopped Salcedo. You understand what I'm saying? So for us to sit there, he stopped even, I think, Terry Flanagan. So for us to sit there and go 12 rounds with him, you understand what I'm saying? That's when I knew Mikkel don't lose. Because after the thing, he said, yo, bro, he was crying. He said, bro, I let you down. I said, nah, bro, you didn't let me down. Because you know what I know? You got a chin. You can't buy a chin. And you here to stay, bro. We got to make a couple of tweaks, which because I'm Dominican, so I reached out to a couple of my family members. Juan Guzman is a good friend of mine, and I was like, yo, Guz, like, I felt like you would be the best person to jump on board because he fits the style of Mikkel. Mikkel's a slick fighter. He's very slick. He got sharp angles. He's a great defensive fighter. And, it's just, I felt like during that fight with Maurice Hooker, he had to let his hands go a little bit more and know that you're here to stay. And he said, like, I was nervous and I felt like I overtrained for the fight. So, like I said, we don't cry over spilled milk. DeBella was like, let's keep going forward. He gave us a tune-up fight. And look, now we're here with Pedraza. And during this whole time, since the Maurice Hooker's fight was damn near a year and a half ago, we just been focusing on, working on lateral movement, more angles, throwing more punches and bunches, and being more of a boxer than walking fighters down, because Mikkel started to get comfortable in walking fighters down.
No,
You
and,
know,
and
and
you can
Mikkel,
tell. I spoke to Mikkel the night before the fight was originally supposed to happen with Pedraza, and he had a focus about him. He's 35 years old, but you could tell this means a lot, especially because of everything that he's been through. And now the fight
yes.
will be on July 2nd, so we'll have a chance to see the fight, which is great for all parties involved.
Yes.
When you were first told the news, you tested positive, fight scrapped. What was your conversation with Mikkel like? What did he say about it when he heard? I'm sure he was devastated
So
as well.
the doctor actually, I don't, the doctor didn't call me. They called Mikkel. They said Mikkel Taveras test positive. So Mikkel called me like, yo, bro, like, they saying you test. We're thinking it's a joke. Like, nah, it can't be. So I try to find any way possible. Like, is it because we quarantine? That the bubble's real lockdown. So it's like I wasn't with Mikkel for the last 24 hours, and he tested negative. They just said, we ought to take very precaution, and we just gotta cancel the fight, and hopefully we can reschedule. You didn't do nothing wrong. Mikkel shedded a tear. He was, he definitely did cry, and he was just like, yo, bro, I'm not blaming nobody, bro. Like, I just felt like it's God's. Not maybe. I know this is God's plan. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe, it just wasn't the time and place. So we took about by that, and the faith of God, and with God's blessing, like I said, I took 2 tests that both came back negative, which was one was the nasal and one was the mouth swab. Both of them came back negative, and working with Top Rank and working with the Bell Entertainment, we rescheduled the fight for July 2nd. So it's like it's like I said, we didn't cry over spilled milk. We capitalized it off the negative, and I'm happy to be part of this pandemic and being one of the first managers, to be the testing of the bubble, because this is the future. This is something that's going down in history. So, I'm happy. I'm happy. Like I said, we was all a little shocked, but this ain't the first. Like I said, we did this ground up.
And
So it's like
and when you
ain't no
got
way
the
to.
result, I'm sure you were obviously concerned about your health, even though you felt like it was a false positive because of the way it was given to you. But you felt fine. Were you concerned at all that, let's say you actually were positive, that maybe you had passed that on to Mikkel or someone else in the bubble? Were you worried about that at all when you first heard the news?
In life, I'm real big on faith, and I'm big on feeling. I didn't feel I had it, like, at all. I said, yo, bro, this is out. Like, we was kind of like, we was like laughing, crying, like, bro, this can't be real. Like, this is crazy. I know I don't have it. So, but I definitely took procedure. I locked in. I went, got some garlic. I went, got garlic. I went and got some ginger tea. I was drinking my tea, eating my garlic like I always do. I eat raw garlic every day, once a day. And I take my natural vitamins from GNC, and I just was like, we waiting. It wasn't nothing to be. One time I was just like, dag, I feel bad, but Mikkel was just like, yo, bro, it's just a bump in our journey. God had a better plan. So when he was okay with it, it was just like, you know what, I'm gonna stay on these phones and make sure that that fight get rescheduled, and that's what I did.
The fight has been rescheduled July 2nd. So now
Yes.
you're back in New York City. Is Mikkel
Yes.
also back in New York City, and he's going to have to travel cross country again? And are you going to be making that trip with him on July 2nd?
No, I will not be making that trip with him July 2nd. And right now, I haven't seen Mikkel. And honestly, like, I don't plan on seeing him. I know my team got it down packed. So I just been speaking to him on FaceTime, making sure he's good every day, regular routine. But I'm not planning on seeing Mikkel during this training camp because, we just want to take proper calls. And this is real, and it's like what makes it even more realer is that any mistake could cause this fight. And I think it's even certain precautions that they should even take. I feel like they should add. Like the trainers should travel separate. They should all get there separate. Because if the trainers come separate and you come in the bubble separately and you test negative and somebody tests positive, then you were social distancing. They should have designated great trainers on payroll that just in case a fighter got to fight without their trainer. You know what I'm saying? These are our fighters' lives, and nobody wants to do it like that, but it's just like, we got to do what's best for our fighters, and, we're having elite trainers there. At secondary, that should be the fighter's option, because nobody want to lose this check. This is how we take care of our families.
No, absolutely, and it's a whole new world, and I think we all agree. It sounds like you're in agreement that it's better to be safe than take a risk, and that's absolutely what happened. And now it seems like it's working itself out. They're going to fight on July 2nd. The night of the broadcast, it was announced that they said Mikkel's trainer tested positive. The fight has been postponed. I don't know if you heard or saw the broadcast, but Tim Bradley was asked about it, and he kind of went off on the manager, in this case you. He didn't have some great things to say. Did you hear that? And what do you think about what Tim Bradley said?
Actually, I didn't hear all of it, but I did hear some of it. And Tim Bradley, you got to remember, before he has his job title now, his job title, he was a fighter. So he's speaking from a fighter's perspective. So part of being a great thinker is a man that takes himself outside the box and think in the fighter's shoes. So I respect his opinion because he's putting himself that if it was me, I would be mad. So I understand everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But like I said, this is not only Mikkel's dream, this is my dream as a manager to sit there and to get this far, to fight at the MGM. I'm not one of the managers that came up in the boxing industry. I've been in the boxing industry 5 years. And I worked with some elite fighters. With Mikkel, Big Baby Miller. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is a blessing. This is God's plan for me, So for me to get to this level, like, it's a blessing, So it's not, you got to think of it from the manager's perspective. Like, it's just as big as for the fighter as it is for me. Because when he wins, I win.
And no, that's exactly it. That's what I wanted to ask you about. Now, looking ahead to July 2nd, I mean, this is a huge moment for Mikkel LesPierre. This is a huge moment for you. You're going to be watching now at home. Just tell me about the magnitude of this fight, what it means for Mikkel's career, what it means for your career, everything that's on the line on July 2nd.
As far as for July 2nd, it definitely would make Mikkel a world title contender, and hopefully, like I said, the next fight after that, after we come out victorious with God's blessing, we looking forward for the Carlos Ramirez and the Josh Taylors, to get in there, get in the bed with them, and let the best man win. We here to show that Mikkel's a world caliber fighter, and me from the manager's perspective, I want to show that I'm a world caliber manager, because this is something I did ground up. You understand what I'm saying? And I not only I'm gonna make you the money. I'm gonna show you what to do with the money. You know what I mean? I want you to make smart and wise decisions. Because a lot of these athletes, they live for the day, and I'm trying to show them to live for the future because the day ain't promised tomorrow. You can love the day don't love nobody back. So that's my philosophy. And I'm learning. I'm preaching advice over mistakes that I made. And I'm keep learning. I'm all ears. Like anybody that ever come across me, like you gotta follow before you lead. And listening is the key to life. It's chess is not checkers. So I try to take as much advice as possible when I be coming across the greats, the Sam Watsons and, like I said, the Ron Rizzos, the DeBellas, Eric Bentley. These are dudes that I met, and, I took all the advice possible, and look how far I got. Like, look how far I got, and it's only the beginning. You understand what I'm saying? I'm an average kid from Brooklyn, from Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. I grew up in the projects, and I turned nothing into something, So this would definitely blossom my career, where it's already fighters reaching out for me from different countries. And, but you got to choose wisely on who you manage. Because, this is not something you got to feel. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't want nobody that's chasing money. I want people that's chasing the dream. You know, because me and Mikkel built it off chasing the dream, and look how far we got.
And you can see that when I spoke to Mikkel, he said after the fight, he's right back to work at the hospital on Monday. He's a hard worker, and this is a big moment for him on July 2nd. So just to close it out, I mean, this was a very unexpected situation the way it went down, and I think I've been saying that Top Rank is doing a great job with the bubble in terms of taking this seriously, the
Yes.
pandemic. You, as someone who kind of went through this process now, multiple tests, having something delayed, things like that. I mean, what would be your final message about, kind of what you learned coming out of the other side, and what would be your final message to people?
I mean, as far as, like I said, just be very secure with training camps, making sure that you're getting the right sparring. If your sparring partners, make sure they tested, and make sure, like I said, you quarantining because not only you can't be mad at nobody but yourself, because we got to take as much precaution as possible. You can't get mad at the promoters. You can't, because we don't know what's going on, and we blessed that some of these fights is able to be rescheduled. That's a blessing for Top Rank to be able to do that. So, like I said, just take as much precaution as possible. If you could sit there and go away with camp, make sure that your small partners is getting tested, and like I said, you just full focus. Full focus. Taking care of your health.
Absolutely. So July 2nd, it's going down. Mikkel LesPierre versus Jose Pedraza. It's going to be a really big fight that, it was postponed. We were upset, but the good thing is it's happening on July 2nd. So I want to thank you, Jose, so much for the time. Thank you for sharing your story. Best of luck to Mikkel. Best of luck to you. I know you'll be an interested observer come July 2nd. And thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.